it kind of makes me think of how ancient Greek writers or thinkers think about their gods.
Yeah.
And I've always had a hard time connecting with classical Greek myth, ironically, even though I seem to be obsessed with Greek myth.
Yeah.
It's actually really the earlier, before classical stuff that I'm interested in. But even by the time you get to Homer, there's this sense that the gods, like Aphrodite and Zeus and Poseidon and all these, like, you know, Apollo and whoever that we're well aware of, they're fascinated by humans.
Yeah.
And they're jealous. In a way, they're jealous because we have the capacity to, like, love and grieve so deeply because we are mortal and because we are governed by animal earthen laws, and they're not.
Yeah.
And they are always meddling because they're fascinated.
Yeah.
And there's that thing that we have that no matter that they have endless beauty and endless youth and endless life, they're kind of dead inside because they don't have that spark of passion that and like pathos that we have. And I feel like that's what so much Greek, like, classical stuff centers on. And that theory that you just said actually made me kind of think of the same thing. Like,
well, and
we're going to endlessly cycle with this question as a species somehow.
Well, and that's like what we're doing with, like, technology now, is to try to be young forever, maybe try to live forever, right? Ultimately,
I think that's kind of underneath it, is like that's kind of the point.
To
at
not
the root.
have any like friction, in like if you were a Greek god, could you just like snap your fingers and like food would appear? Or, like, you could eat and never gain weight, and you could, like, you're just not bound by, and like sort of that's like what we're trying to do with technology, is like make everything really convenient.
Yeah, and painless.
But we
right?
have these mortal bodies, so there's always this trade-off, or like, oh, I can get, food delivered, so then I don't know how to cook. Or like, I don't know how to grow food, or like.
Yeah, we can be so divorced. We're so divorced from all of that. And yet we're also, I think, experiencing like an epidemic of like loneliness and existential dread and depression.
Yeah.
And
this is why I'm really scared about these like AI relationships. Like, that freaks me out so much, but it's probably going to be like normal.
Oh my God.
Like at some point it's probably going to be like
normalized. Is it like becoming a thing?
Like you just hear like crazy news articles of like this woman like wants to marry her AI partner, and like,
oh my God,
and they just sound like delusional,
I'm out
crazy
of the loop
people.
in my
don't get in that loop.
Archaeological books, but it does make me think that like maybe we need to have a little reread of the classics, because those guys, they were all men writing about this, but they were kind of already grappling with this.
Yeah.
And I guess on the other hand, we could say that that's the point that this question, that this impetus began in Western culture. And we are seeing from that point of classical Greece, where like there was the rise of like pure logic, pure reason, divorced from the body. You can kind of trace it back to that point in the West, I think. It's very pre-Christian. Like, we are seeing well, unfortunately, probably not even the most extreme. We're still in the development of the most extreme form of what we're going to see of this.
Do you mean of technology, or just the mind taking over the body?
I think the mind taking over the body. Yeah. And like, and the idea that we could...
It divorces us from our bodies.
Yeah. But this, I think what I mean is like this impulse to be completely divorced from the body and to somehow like immortalize our brains.
Yeah.
And immortalize our brains / have everything feel so easy for the body that we are living without any discomfort, because that seems to be a lot of what the impulse is, and yet we offshore all of it.
Well, it's like no matter what we do, there's going to be a problem created that never existed before. Like, I don't know, because we were talking about food, I'm thinking obesity. Yeah. That never really existed before we had certain technologies that could create like really addicted food and food with no nutritional value and all these things. And then we have a solution. We have Ozempic or whatever,
right.
or like 24-hour gyms. I don't like. There's so many things that they. I don't know. I'm like the Amish. Are the Amish the only people thinking about this? Where there's like so many consequences to technology, and then needing a problem that never existed being created, and then us having to come up with more solutions, but like, so now we can call anyone at any point and we can talk to anybody all over the world, but we're so lonely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and the cost of creating a system like that is community, because of if we look at the processes that have led us to this point, it's like all the layers of colonization, imperialism, globalization, like all of our little machines, we've mined some part of them from mines in Africa where the conditions are beyond horrific, and that's all embedded in what seems to be this freedom that we have. And it's, that biological law, or is it a law of chemistry? Energy is neither created nor destroyed, but always changes form.
I don't know.
I've remembered this
like
since high school. Physics, whatever. This was not my strong suit, but I remembered that. I'm like, that is the most profound, like, spiritual teaching, one of them, that I've ever heard. Because anywhere you look, like, that is true. And we can see that in terms of what is happening with, like, climate chaos.
Yeah.
I think the thing is what I was saying before, that we kind of pushed against the laws of nature. And we've tried to play God for so long. The truth is, in my opinion, we've just kind of, how would I put it? Like, we've pushed some limits, but the ultimate creator, whoever that be, whatever that being is, however we want to think of that. And in this moment, I'm thinking just of the earth, the being of earth itself, the earth and her biosphere, will bring everything back into balance.
Yeah.
We just might not make it.
Yeah.
Like, we've pushed and pushed and pushed, but in earth time, we're kind of a blip making a mess, and the laws will come back.
I think this is why, me personally, I love these kinds of stories, and a lot of people do, like the post-apocalyptic or like the collapse, like, stories. I don't know why, I just, like, love them.
I kind of like them too, yeah.
But I think...
But they're terrifying.
But also, they're like, would I actually really want to be living that way? Like...
No, that's the thing.
But
what it would take to get there will be completely devastating if that's what... Yeah. It's horrifying.
But there's something like, oh, wouldn't it be great to just have this big reset where, like, everything you do is life or death. Like, things really matter. Like, you getting food, that really matters. If there's zombies, whether or not there's zombies there. But, like... Let's hope not. But like, things are,
it's already hard enough to get food without
it's already hard enough without zombies. Yeah. But, like, a lot of these worlds have zombies in them. But, like... where everything really is, like, consequential, and everything is, like, there's so much significance and feeling, just like your day-to-day survival and who you surround yourself with and the relationships you have will define your survival. And it's like this modern part of us that doesn't really need to worry too much about those kinds of really physical, immediate things, because we have it, at least here we have it, like, kind of taken care of. And there's like the Greek gods looking at the mortals. It's like in some ways modern, like, we could be the Greek gods in that situation where we don't really know what it's like.
That is feel. Such an amazing point.
Like, we don't really know a lot of things that indigenous, like, people had to do in order to have this very deliberate balance of how they survived and how they moved around the world. Like, we don't really have to we can just kind of relax,
right? And we long for, there's such a deep, I think there's such a longing for some, like, essence of our nature that we have a hard time connecting with now in modern Western culture. And And yet at the same time, the challenges are things that we think we want,
yeah,
but we have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.